everyone, and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and I am super excited to bring you our next colouring series, which is in Fragile World by Kerby Rosanes. Kerby Rosanes is one of my favourite artists, period, never mind colouring book artists, and I'm really excited and I'm really glad that you all voted for this book. So the page that we are going to be tackling is the very last page, and it is the double page of the Galapagos penguins. So here's our little dudes and dudettes here, and they're having a great time underwater and all this stuff going on. We are going to be using Prismacolor pencils. I thought that would be a nice change from the Polychromos, which is what I tend to favour. And obviously we've just had that great big long run of Inktense videos as well, so a welcome change today. I also use quite a different technique when I'm actually colouring when I'm using Prismacolors. I am like the smoosh and grab girl with Prismas, so that's going to be a nice change in pace for us too. The aim of the game today is to do the sky. And I did have a really good think about this before I start. What I would like to do, the Galapagos Islands are obviously very beautiful. The water is very turquoisey blue colours. So to balance that out, I want some orange in the sky. And if we just consult our little wheel here just to show you what I'm talking about. If we have blue or turquoise, either of these sections here, so any kind of colours. If we go complementary, that's going to put you into reds and oranges because the line comes this way. If you want to add a third colour, you could have like a split complementary. So blue, orange and red here. It's kind of heading more towards the pinkish direction. So there's lots and lots of things that you can do with that. But I really like the idea of an orange, like a yellow into orange sky. Maybe it's a sunrise, but also so that we can bounce some of that orange colour off of these rocks as well. And then we can have some really nice turquoise water. Again, maybe with just a little flick. Like that's going to be chef's kiss. So the first thing we need to do is pick some colours. These pencils are not here for any reason. These are replacement pencils because my goldenrod and my marine green were nearly dead. I've not picked them out for use today. So yes, we'd just like to say you didn't hang about with the stash shop, did you guys, last week when we started the sale stuff? There is more sale stuff to come. I am going to be doing that on a Sunday. It's a wee bit much for me to try and squeeze that all in during the week when I'm trying to pack and obviously do my proper job as well. So there will be more items in the stash shop on Sunday. Some will be reduced items and some will be items from my own personal stash that they're just not getting used. So if you check out the stash shop after the video on Sunday, there'll be some more goodies for those of you perhaps that missed out this time round as well, because everything went really quickly. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a look at our colours here. The other thing I do have with me, it's kind of permanent when I'm working with Prismacolors, and that is my Tagala multi-sharpener. I like using this sharpener for these pencils because I put a tiny little stubby point on them because they're very soft and have a tendency to crumble, and also because they're soft you all need to sharpen them all the time, so it's good to have this to hand too for that purpose. Okay, so let's pick out some orange colours first of all, right at the front of this swatch book. There we go. And this is one of the things about Prismacolor, their selection of oranges is absolutely fabulous, so we will have no problem in finding some colours that we want here. So I think we should maybe start, we'll have a really pale yellow at the horizon, so maybe like say as a sunset or a sunrise. So Deco yellow is a really good colour for that. And I think we could probably go into something like sunburst yellow, so quite a strong yellow that's still definitely yellow, but you know you're going into orange at that point. And then let's pick out two oranges, and I think probably the common or garden orange, and then the cadmium orange hue, or maybe even the pumpkin orange to give us a bit of contrast because it's a little bit dark. Yeah, let's go pumpkin, because what we can do as well is we can bounce some of that colour off of these clouds as well. So let's start at, I'm going to start right in the middle weirdly, because this is where our you know, obviously this sun's going to be setting in there, draws your eye right to the middle of the picture, because we have to think about aesthetics here as well. That makes complete and utter sense. It will give us a weird sort of backlit option for light source, but I'm not going to worry about that just now. I just want to get some colour down. When I am doing Kerby's pictures, and this is a strategy for those of you that maybe feel something with this level of detail a little bit overwhelming, I break it down into sections. So the first thing that I see here are these two shapes here, because they're stopped by the clouds, so that is a really sensible little space there. And I am just going to go straight in with this deco yellow, and I'm going to stick a layer of that down. Now, normally I'm kind of like a one layer of Prisma kind of gal, but when we're going to be layering these colours up a little bit and getting like a gradient, I always put that what I call the signposting layer down, and it's just so I can see where the colour's sitting and where they're going to meet and see how it looks before I commit to it, because once you press down with these pencils, they're very, very difficult to erase. So I'm going to take this deco yellow all the way up to the, oh, I'm really out of practice with this. Here's a list of the colours that we're going to be using and the and the numbers, in case you're more of a numbers rather than a names kind of person. These are the colours we're going to be using today. If I add any more, I'll let you know in due course. So out of practice, I'm professional. I think we can zoom in a little bit here now as well. There we go. Right, okay, so there's deco yellow all the way there, and obviously that's going to come over this side as well. So we're going to do that. So now that I've got that down there, and I'm looking to see the height of the rocks and see where I want to start bringing in the orange. Because see, this to me there should be maybe some yellow in here too. And there's a suggestion of a cloud there, but it kind of peters out. So let's just pop that there and leave it at that. So in my mind, I've got a sort of semicircle, and it kind of comes here. So I would be starting my orange colour probably from just in behind these penguins, which is a little bit convenient or inconvenient depending on how you look at it. So I'm going to start the sunburst here, and I'm thinking that would probably arc up round there. So even if I draw a really light line in there. So let's put some sunburst in there. Again, this is just really rough. I'm not actually committing to anything here. I just want to see where these colours are going to sit. So we'll have a little gradient in there between the sunburst and the deco yellow. Pop this down. Try and ignore these birds a little bit. Not just now, boys. We'll get to you. So that would take that out to there. I think I would probably introduce just a little bit of the sunburst here. Maybe bring that in a wee bit, because that's quite a big and stark area to have that pale yellow. Yeah, maybe something like that. It doesn't have to be absolutely set in stone. And then when we come out here, this is going to come up to like roughly here. And then I can take out the orange, and that's going to be like all the way over. So there's a huge chunk missing here because of the clouds, which is good, because this orange everywhere is going to be pretty, you know, that's going to be pretty full on. So we would take that to there, and that's going to be, I'd maybe even bring that sunburst out further, and we could have this, you know, coming down sort of here. And then this pumpkin, which is very, very dark, we could just have in the corners. Like, so maybe over here, for example, we could have a little bit of that in there, because you're heading away from that light source. So you're still going to have a nice colour in the sky, but maybe it's just not going to be bounced about. So those clouds might be blocking off some of that light. So there might be more of this darker orange here. So there we go, like that's just me sort of thinking out loud. Over this side's completely different because these clouds are blocking a lot of that corner. So I feel that this would mostly be orange here. Maybe some of the pumpkin in there too, but that would mostly be orange in that little corner. So now I've got a rough idea of what I want. I'm actually going to start with the sunburst, which sounds a bit ridiculous. Also not bothered about having a point on my pencil here because we want nice soft transitions. So I'm going to start in this section here, that feels most comfortable to me. And I am going to start with a medium pressure. Mostly everything I do now from this point, once I've signposted my colours, everything's a medium pressure. And I usually put down 1 or 2 layers and just go for it because that's the way that this game works. For Gem here in the cave, just get that on the go. And see some of that colour, that's going to bounce beautifully off this little gap in these rocks here as well. That's going to look so nice. So, so nice. So we'll just get some of this down here. We are making a progress here in the cave. Obviously, the two things I'm going to be talking about are moving and jock, because that's these things that absolutely consume my life just now. Switch to my deco yellow, and I'm going to start blending straight in there. Let's get this going. Yeah, so the packing situation is fairly good. I would say I'm probably not quite a week ahead of schedule, but I'm a little bit in front, and that's where I like to be, just you know, in case there's any sort of disasters or anything. So we're sitting quite comfortably that way. We've sold quite a lot of our furniture, and we had a few really big pieces that weren't necessarily of any value, but they fit the scale of this house, and they would be absolutely jammed in at the new place because we're moving back to a cottage. So we've sold off some of the furniture, which is great because I didn't want to have to be dealing with that later on down the line. The house is feeling a wee bit emptier already, but obviously, like, we're still like 3 weeks out. So 3 and a bit weeks out, so we've still, you know, there's still a lot of stuff that we're using on a day-to-day basis, so it's not too bad. But this is the bit that I hate this limbo period where some of your stuff's packed away. One of my jobs this week is to take everything off the walls in the cave, and I don't like that because it makes it feel so bare. So bare. Right, I'm just jumping back and forth here between this sunburst yellow and my deco yellow until I'm happy with the transition. It doesn't have to be a uniform semicircle. I'm not really going for that. I just want there to be a nice smooth transition between the two colours. And yeah, it's really easy to achieve with these pencils like that. I love Prismacolor for this. I'm going to bring this, I'm now using the pencil on its side, you can see I've done that, and that's because I want to put another layer of the deco yellow down to the waterline here, but that is all. I don't want it to be as rich as here, because I want to give the idea that the sun's in behind there somewhere, whether it's up or down I'm not sure. We'll not deliberate that. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. So now I just want to mirror that on this side. So we're going to go with this. I have to say, it's really strange using Prismacolor pencils. It's been so long since I've used them. And I really like using them. I just get frustrated with the constant sharpening, the price of them as well, and the fact that the cores aren't always robust, shall we say. Obviously, if you're in the US, Prismacolor pencils are great value pencils, and the colour payoff you get from them is absolutely crazy. But for everyone else outside, I would say probably the US and maybe some of South America as well, these are super expensive for us. And there's so many, even British alternatives. Derwent Coloursoft pencils and Chromaflow pencils are excellent. So if you don't have Prismacolors and you do want to colour along, and you're looking for the same sort of softness, I would suggest either the Coloursoft or the Chromaflow by Derwent. They're very readily available in the UK. Still a really good quality pencil, like you will still pay for them, but they're well worth the money. Okay, I'm back to my deco now. See if we can bring this down. So I'm having a few sleepless nights just now as well, and it's just like my brain's starting to go into overdrive about the new place. And I knew this was going to happen because it always happens, and I can't stop it. I can't help myself. It's just like I want to get all the solutions done and everything organised in my head so that when it comes to actually moving, that's not a stressor for me. But there's a lot of things you can't even think about until you've actually been in the place and, you know, lived in it, even for like a couple of weeks. But I keep going back to the furniture for the cave. I am going to have to buy myself a new chair, a new office chair. My neck and my shoulders have been really sore, and I'm pretty careful about how I position myself at my desk because I sit at it for a ridiculous number of hours each day, and I couldn't figure out why all of a sudden this was happening. And I realised that the seat cushion on my chair, like, it's practically flat. It's only like an inch thick now, and it's basically because my fat ass has been sitting on it for like 3 and a bit years. And this office chair that I have was not designed to be sat in for more than like 6 hours a day. So the combination of those two things, it's time for a new chair, and I'm going to have to get something that's going to be comfortable for me to sit in. While I do, a variety of things. It's not just sitting at a laptop. It's not just sitting colouring. So the quest's going to be on for one of those. And then I was thinking about shelving for the stash shop, because I want to have a dedicated area just for the shop. Like I want to have like a packing station, and all of the stock is like right beside me. So I've been kind of thinking about that as well. I think that might be an IKEA shot. But you know what I mean? It's like I'm thinking about all these things already, and I've got weeks to go yet. So like, try not to get too overexcited about it. Right, there we go. There's our little middle section. So you can see that's looking quite delicate. So I'm going to come over to this right hand side now, and I'm going to get on. I'm going to have to sharpen a wee bit. I'm a wee bit too blunt here now. And I don't need a transition in this section either, so sharpen up a little bit. I've got a broken core already. Just the first time I'd sharpen it. Broken core. Kind of thought this was going to happen. I normally sharpen this on a number 2 setting, so not the stubbiest point, otherwise we sharpen in like every 4 seconds. But yep, oh goodness me. Come on, Sunburst Yellow, don't fail me now. I'd just like to say a big thank you. That's us, we're sorted now. I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone that came along to the live stream last Wednesday as well. I had such a good time. That was really nice. I really enjoyed myself, and it's been such a long time since we've had one. If you remember, we had to cancel one. So yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I hope we can do some more of that in the not too distant future. I really like this colour. It's a very cheery yellow. Look how rich that colour is. I love these pencils. Okay, and I'm going to grab my orange here as well. I realised there's a tiny little gap there, and I'm going to have to put in like the silliest smidge of orange, so I might as well put a little bit in there. Consistency is key, so let's do that, and then we can just smoosh in some sunburst. Look at these blending together. They blend together so well. Oh lordy lordy, this makes me so happy. The other thing as well is the Galapagos penguins have got a tiny little they've got a tiny little sliver of like a pinkish red on them, so we're kind of fitting into the grand scheme of things here. Can you see what I'm saying though about you know, just taking a section at a time? That is exactly what I'm doing. That's literally just like, and that's the beauty of Kerby's images, because there is a lot of detail, there's a lot of natural resting points, and I certainly find that helpful, especially if I'm maybe in one of my more anxious states of mind, which I have to say are quite few and far between these days, but still sometimes there's that sort of mild panic sets in and you think, oh my god, what am I doing? Where am I going to start? What colours am I using? I don't even know what pencils to use. And you just need to sit back and breathe. I always try and find like an aspect of the image that speaks to me, like it sings to me, and it might just be like, hey Jem, you know I want to be orange, or hey Jem, you know I fancy being a cheeky green colour, and you think, yeah, do you know what, I agree, let's do it. And even if that's just like a tiny bush in the bottom corner of the page, that might be the starting point you need. So those kind of things for me are the way forward. I also really like the paper in this book. I don't know if it's the same as the US print version, but we've got this weird fade of the clouds here again, and I'm just going to leave that there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to like do this corner basically, because see if we do that, then, you know, we're nearly done with the right hand page, and we're only like, what, 20 minutes in or something? This is what I'm talking about, like this is the way to do things. So my light source is here, and it's in behind the horizon probably. So over here is not going to be deco yellow for sure, but I think there might be a wee bit of the old sunburst yellow going on. So I'm going to stick that down here. Again, look, in between those waves, there's some wave action going on there. Like, ha! No, ha ha ha. Yes, Jem, very funny. That was such a dad joke, wasn't it? No, just shoot me now. And then we'll put that into this orange. So again, that looks as if it's fading into a cloud there. So we'll just very gently. And then we can blend this in with some sunburst orange. It's orange. Just smoosh it together, press as hard as you like. It can take it. This is such a novelty, it's been so long. Oh, goodness me. Easily abused, always, always, always. Right, there we go, pop that in there. Oh, that's funny. Try and avoid our little bloop. Go back in with my orange a little bit here. Oh, there we go. My orange down there. So make sure I fade it out gently. So that'll be a nice soft edge of the cloud. So that's a pretty intense bit of blending there, but that's the way we like to do it. So if I just zoom out a little bit from that now, you can see how nice that looks, and it looks quite organic as well. It doesn't look forced, so that's all good in the wood. So we've just got this top corner now, and we're going to bring in that last colour that we picked out, which was the pumpkin orange, and it's quite a dark orange. It is like a dirty orange, but that's what we kind of want. So I'm going to start up in the corner here and just get a layer down. I know I kind of scribbled earlier, but we need to get a sensible layer down. We'll zoom you back in a little bit. How's that? Just there? That'll do you. So again, I suppose we can decide here whether we want a smooth gradient or whether this is more like a shadowy effort. You know, if whether we want like a nice like sort of semicircular line or whether we want this to be a little bit more mismatched or misshapen, should I say. So, you know, I could maybe bring that down there a little bit. I would wager, see what I mean about this being a darker colour? I would wager, because I think the clouds here might be blocking a lot of the light. I think I might want a wee bit more dark. No, I don't know actually. Let's chuck in a bit of the normal people's orange and just see how that's going to look. I'll blend it out. I don't have anything frightfully exciting to update you on with Jock. I really appreciate the fact that you all ask about him though, like that's really nice, and thanks for your support on that. Like that, it means a lot, things like that, because you know he's a very big part of my life. He's practically surgically attached to my side. But we're kind of in not in limbo, but we're kind of steady just now because we are just sticking with our 5-minute walks, bless him. He's got the idea now though that he's not to be running about like we are supposed to be walking, so I'm able to let him off the lead now after a couple of minutes, like once he gets the pace right and he realises what's going on. And it's nice because he can wander free, which he's much more comfortable with. When Jock's on a lead, he associates that with going to the vet, and he's actually quite rigid and quite uncomfortable. Being a sheepdog, although we have taught him how to walk on a lead, he doesn't like it. So yeah, that's it's nice that I can do that now, and I know he's not going to shoot off. Being a collie, especially an ex-working dog, he is in a permanent state of awaiting instruction, so that's really helpful, and like that's a big bonus for us, a big plus. So that's going reasonably well. And we're still working away with Pippi. Last week I talked a little bit about how we were working with her to get her used to being in the truck again, and she's doing so well, bless her. Like she really is. She we actually drove, it was a total drive time of 50 minutes just at the weekend there, and it was actually quite warm as well. It wasn't too warm to be out in the car, but you know it wasn't exactly cool. And she hopped in by herself and wagged her tail and settled herself down, and when we got out to the other end she had drooled everywhere, like there was a pool of drool, but apart from that she was okay. When Pip does travel, she seems to recover really quickly, like there doesn't seem to be any of these sort of side effects that hang about, if you know what I mean. Like she just goes back to normal almost instantly. So we took her for a walk for about half an hour, and then we drove back, so it was about it was like 20 odd minutes each way, and she did exceptionally well. So this week we are ramping up the drive time, so we're going to be up over half an hour each way. So again, that'll be a total time of being in the truck will be over an hour, and our aim is to get that up to nearer 2 hours, but just with a break in the middle for the first wee while, because the journey time is going to be roughly 2 hours. On the plus side though, when we do travel with her, it's mostly motorway, so it's not going to be as windy and bumpy and bendy as it is with us taking her out just now, because obviously we live in the countryside. A lot of it is rural, and the roads here are really, really windy. So if she can cope with that, I'm kind of hoping that when we get, you know, onto the kind of like motorway driving, she's going to be absolutely fine and be like, all right, okay, and it'll make her feel less sick. So that's the plan. So that's actually going really well as well. She's doing super well. She's been a really brave girl. But the fact that she's hopping in and out the truck herself, that's amazing. I don't think she enjoys it. Obviously she's uncomfortable, but she's willing to tolerate it because she knows there's something good at the other end, in which case it's usually a W-A-L-K with a B-A-L-L. So that's where we're at with that. In terms of work, I've got so much work to do. I am trying to finish up 2 commissions. And one's going really well. Like one's just, it's a dog portrait and it's super easy. You know, I can do the doggos all day long. The other one's a cat, and it's not. Do you know what's really difficult about it? It's choosing the colours. The cat itself has got quite unusual markings, and the client has provided me with a lot of photos. Like, I mean, a lot of photos. But the cat's coat seems to be a completely different colour in every photo. Like, obviously the markings are the same. And I just can't decide like what colour to make it. So I'm kind of struggling with my pencil choices on that one. So I'm trying to like work away on that and get that finished. I would like that finished in the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. I'm doing a favour. I'm doing a this is the person that doesn't do commissions, by the way. I'm doing a third one, and this is actually for somebody. I know it's for my boss at work. And she needs hers sooner rather than later, so I've kind of got that to do as well. And I'm like, yeah, okay, right. Deep breaths. So I'm actually quite busy. And I'm trying to be productive, busy and sensible, and sometimes that's going better than others. Okay, so we've got that little bit of darkness there. Not too much contrast. It doesn't look absolutely ridiculous, but it's, instead of just having like a block of that orange there, that's worked quite well. So if we move in here now, I would like to just finish off this right hand page here with the sky. So I'm going to go back to my sunburst pencil here, and I'm going to get moving in here. The little penguin. Oh, hi. Kind of got a bit of a grump on today because it is super nice outside and I am literally in the cave all day today. When I stopped at lunchtime, my cup of tea, I did go and sit outside for a wee while, but it's just not the same. And again, I'm at the stage now where if we were staying a bit longer, I would have set up some kind of something outside and worked outside. But we've only kept out 2 patio chairs and, you know, that kind of thing. So it's just like, well, I'll go and sit outside. But the out the sunroom door, so just out the window of the cave here, it is a proper sun trap, and it's about 3 degrees warmer than it is like the actual air temperature, and it's just because it's really sheltered, so you end up getting a wee bit too warm. Okay, so nothing fancy here, just carrying on with my sunburst pencil. Just want to get this quite vibrant and relatively smooth as well. Again, it doesn't need to be absolutely, you know, baby's behind smooth, but we want to have some nice rich colour here. Get that looking good. Okay, so I think I'll have a bit of a transition there into the orange. Again, I'll maybe pop a little bit of pumpkin up in this top corner here. See, just up here, like, oh. And then again, I just soften that out there. So when I say soften that out, all I'm doing, it helps if you can actually see what I'm doing. Sorry, autofocus. Yeah, when I say softening it out, I mean, I'm just lightening up my pressure there. See how it's like just to fade it out? And that's just so that we can take this and bring it in and get a nice transition there. The old orange pencil there. And I'll just follow this down around these clouds. I don't know what's wrong with Pip, she's pacing about. I don't know whether she can hear the boys outside or, oh, she's away outside. Oh, baby girl. It's far too warm for Pip today. Pip does not do well in the heat. This is the time of day. I was talking to my friend about this on the phone last night. Although it's very nice, like we have very nice warm weather here just now, which is cool for us. Cool as in good, not cool as in temperature cool. For this time of year, because technically we're still in May. When I'm filming this, you'll see this in June, which is also random. Never mind. But the weather's been lovely. But what happens here is because we are quite elevated, it's windy most of the time. And usually about this time of day, so just at like after sort of 4 o'clock, the wind dies down. And 99 times out of 100, it is the best part of the day. So I don't know whether Pip's decided that that's the best idea, because obviously when the wind goes away, it feels much warmer, although it's later in the day. Right, I'm just going to join these up now. Get the old sunburst in there, it's smooshing about. These 2 colours do blend really well together, particularly. The transition's really, really nice. Yeah, so I kind of like that. It's quite subtle, but that's what I want to go for. So let's work away with this orange a little bit. See if we can get ourselves some sort of area. Yeah, I think like there. Maybe, but I'm not like 100% on this being, you know, a perfect arc. I'm not interested in an arc, as long as it doesn't look like I've drawn a line. You know, it's fine, it's okay. What this also does as well, you know, when I was picking these colours and thinking about placement on the actual page, what this lets us do as well is have some contrast so that the white parts of the penguins really stand out, because these belly parts are mostly white. They're kind of like a greyish white colour. And against a white background, or even like a pale blue, you know, if you have sunny sky, it's not going to have the same impact. So I kind of like, that was involved in the thought process when I was picking the colours, and that just gives us some really nice contrast. Especially this little dude here, because he's mostly surrounded by yellow. So my plan for this evening, something that I'm doing as well, is I'm going round and like packing a couple of boxes at night, even if it's just like chucking a couple of things into one box, because I do have open boxes pretty much in every room of the house just now. I am trying to carve out an hour for myself in the evenings just to do what I want to do, not to listen to Mr. Jem or run about after dogs, just to do what I want to do. Whether that's a wee snippet of Nintendo, I'm playing the new Zelda game, I'm still playing that just now, or whether it's to do something else. And one of the things I want to do is finish the little gouache painting that we started in the live stream, so I'm probably going to do that over the next couple of nights and just spend, you know, like just half an hour on it, because that's all you need, and just bring that on. So hopefully by the weekend that'll be finished as well. I think once I've done that, I'll probably pack my gouache paints away. It's probably a sensible idea. I don't really want to pack, I don't want to pack all my art supplies away. See what I mean here? I'm not trying to get, you know, this sort of arc gradient. I do have some orange down in here. And this is really just about preference, you know, however you feel about it. Do what you feel. Do what you feel is good. Don't listen to me. It's all just preference, it really is. I'm going to have a big V of this dark orange here, like literally just down there, because I feel like it. On these edges, and again, just work on softening them out a little bit. So gradually lighten up the pressure as we head out, away from that strong centre that I've just squished in for funsies. I think as well, do you know, I find working with Prismacolor pencils really relaxing. Like super relaxing, and I think it's just because there's zero effort required to put colour down on the paper, which my hand also really likes, by the way. And my hand very much enjoys this sort of colouring. Okay, better. So I'm starting to plan out. I've spent a little bit of time planning out the you know, how the videos are going to go up until the end. And I've got a bit of a dilemma about the subscription boxes, because like they're basically going to arrive as we're leaving. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to the June subscription boxes. I don't think I'm going to try and... I think it would be crazy to try and film videos in the last week. Like I'll need to take all my, you know, the camera rig and everything down. So I'll probably hold on to that until we get to the new cave. So I don't know, again, I'm not sure about the internet situation. That's actually one of my my jobs on my to-do list tomorrow, is to chase up the internet providers, because I haven't heard from them, because I need to book an installation for the new place and stuff. So yeah, we will get to that. We'll get to that eventually, but yeah. But we'll see. So I've just got to decide on a couple of videos, and I need to plan them, because that will determine what gets put away and what doesn't get put away. Obviously I can't pack things if I'm going to use them for a video, so I kind of need to make that decision now and get all my ducks in a row, or my penguins in this case, and decide what I'm doing about videos. I normally do have plans like a week in advance, maybe two at a push, but more recently it's been sort of 2 weeks, so I need to decide what's happening so that we can get on with it. So I've got that to do as well. My to-do list isn't sounding that attractive right now, is it? The other thing is sorting out dinners. Like I'm sorting dinner, like, oh god. Trying to manoeuvre what's around, you know, what's in the freezer. Like, let's start using stuff up in the freezer, because we've got a big chest freezer outside. And I said to Mr. Jem, I was like, right, we need to empty this into the inside freezer so that we start to use it up. So the result of that is that the outside freezer, the big chest freezer, is now empty, and we have more venison sausage rolls than you can shake a stick at. I have a funny feeling by the time it comes time to move, we will never want to see another venison sausage roll again. But you know, it kind of comes with the territory. Like, yeah, I'm going to turn this round here just so that I can work in at this crease a bit better. So yeah, we've got lots of venison sausage rolls, and we've also got lots of venison burgers as well. We've got ones with juniper berries in them, and they're really nice. But again, it's one of those things, you know, like you wouldn't want to eat them twice a week every week for like 4 weeks. So I'm going to give some away, I think. We do have a few people that we'd like to give things to before we go, because they've been really good to us. You know, in this kind of community, there's a lot of help And you know, that's kind of like your bartering system, you know, it's like a favour system, and it always does you a favour to have a favour in the stable kind of thing, just in case, especially let's see with the storms and everything were here, we all kind of like had to stick together. So there's a few people that we can give some venison to say thank you. We've also got an insane amount of whiskey, and again, that just seems to be a thing that people give, and it's really funny because although I drink Jack Daniels, I don't actually like whiskey, as in Scotch whiskey, and Mr. Jem doesn't really drink, so we ended up with like 16 bottles of whiskey, some of them very expensive and very nice whiskies, by the way. I may not drink it, but I know my whiskies. I was a bartender for a number of years, and I do know my whiskies, so... certain people will be getting certain things, so we're going to have a little round of that, you know, just going and seeing people and giving them stuff like that, but we'll do that a bit later on down the line. But in the meantime, it's just all sitting, making a mess. Like, can I put this stuff somewhere? Like, no, because the cupboard, like the unit that we used to use for our drinks cabinet is gone. Like, it's not there. I actually went through to the sunroom the other day and went to sit something down on top of it, and then realised at the last second, I was like, oh, that's right, it's not there. So I've got a lot of planning still to do. But it is the kind of last of the planning, which is really nice. Once that's done, everything else is actually fairly easy to execute. You've just got to get on and do it, which is the part that I find really easy. It's very simple. You just get up and move and get it done. I wonder what's flying in the sky there. It's so easy to get a lovely rich colour with these pencils. Look, I'm not even pressing or anything, it's just happening. If you're really wanting a smooth finish here, I do recommend using the Prismacolor blender pencil, you know, the colourless blenders. It really does smooth and smoosh very, very well. I might even just show you on this little bit. Oh dear, I just wanted to demonstrate this for you. This one's in a pencil extender because it's tiny, and that print that you can see there, that's actually the number. So that's how much of that pencil's left. I do have a full one here that's unsharpened. This is what they look like, so they're natural wood, and you can buy these quite easily just along with the rest of wherever you get your Prismacolors from. And it's basically just the binder and everything, so it's basically a Prismacolor pencil, but it's got no pigment in it. And the idea is that you use this to smoosh, so you do want to have a good amount of colour down on the paper. So see there where that just looks a little bit wishy-washy compared to what's around it. Just going to make sure there's plenty down there, because what this does is it smooshes with the wax that's already in the pencils and it moves it about and it just evens it out. So if I show you in this little section, I'll do a line right down the middle so you'll be able to see. But if I start doing that, it does lighten the colour a wee bit, but I think generally the payoff is worth it. So you can see the places there where there was, you know, a little bit of the tooth, a little bit of the white of the paper showing, it's gone. Absolutely gone. So this is a nice way if you prefer a much smoother background. But if you're into that, this is a really good way of doing it. You do have to press quite hard, and one of the reasons I don't like this process is because of that, and because I find this very hard in my hand if I have to do large areas. It's alright in small sections like this though, it's not really, you know, it's not a thing. But I couldn't do great big areas, I'd have to keep stopping. And you'll get best results from using a circular motion. So there, if you look at that compared to this part here, much smoother, less white of the paper. So that is an option if you're into that kind of thing. I do know you get the blender pens as well. I have tried both, and I find that you just don't get the same results with the pens as you do with the pencil. It's still very good though. I just prefer the end result of the pencil. Still a pencil monster at heart, but there you go. Look, I can zoom over that fairly quickly. That's given me quite a nice finish. Okay, there we go. Nice. So let's turn this. I'm gonna have to do that other corner now at the top. Dagnammit. I'll finish that off afterwards. Okay, so you can see where we're going with that. That's actually a really nice start to what we are looking to achieve. So good job there. For next time, I will finish the I'll finish the sky on this side because it's more or less the same as what we've been doing. And when we come back next week, we can start on these rocks and probably some of the penguins that are on dry land, and we shall take it from there. So that is it for today, guys. Thanks very much for watching. As I said at the start, there'll be more stuff going into the Stash Shop sale and the Stash Shop in general on Sunday, which is also when the next video is. So I shall see you all then. Have a great day, everyone, and bye-bye for now.